Welcome, everyone, to the Office Practicum PediaTricks podcast. That's PediaTricks with a K. I'm Sean Rossler, Senior Instructional Designer on OP's Knowledge Team and the host of the PediaTricks podcast. And our mission on the show is to make your lives easier. No, we won't be able to help you navigate Zoom sessions for your middle schooler, but we do hope you will leave this podcast learning something new. You know, when we think of data, specifically data that we enter into, say, an electronic health record, we'd be remiss if we didn't consider the data's security as well. Like when you put something in that place that you know you won't forget and no one else will figure out, data security is comforting in the same way, whether it's just knowing you can access it when you need it, or that it would be safe should some technical, viral, or hardware issue occur. Knowing that there's a team in place to take care of these issues, should they arise, is comforting. At Office Practicum, our technical team offers the OP Cloud, a solution that addresses these issues and can save you and your practice time and money. On today's podcast, Mike Matlack joins us to talk about the OP Cloud and how trusting it with your data is an incredibly forward-thinking move. But what all can it do, and what other benefits does it present with? Let's find out. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, Sean. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Great to have you. And I know that cloud is something I think we hear a lot about. And then in conjunction with OP, that we have a solution that's awesome. And I know listeners will want to dig into that deeply here. But let's talk about the cloud itself. You know, I'm sure a good amount of people have at least heard of the cloud. In your own words, what is the cloud?
Yeah, the cloud is really simply just software and services that run on the internet instead of a computer or a local server. So if you think of something like Facebook or Netflix, all that processing isn't being done on your computer. You're kind of looking at the processing through a browser. So all the work is being done on the internet, and that's just being shown to you through your computer. Similar, like the OP Cloud, with the OP Cloud, a practice's database is run on a secured server in the cloud. And when you run OP in the cloud, you're not running it on your local computer. You're actually running it on a computer in the cloud. You're just seeing it run on your local computer.
Right. So you kind of getting the picture of it working, but it's not local. It's distant. It's networked. It's far away. So things like iCloud. When your storage runs over on your phone, that's where that goes. And so, what I hear you saying is that Office Practicum has taken this principle and applied it to electronic health record.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. From what I understand, again, the running joke now 8 episodes long is that I'm the new guy. So, but from what I understand, the OP Cloud has been around for a while. Do you know offhand exactly how long we've been using it, and maybe some of the background of how it's evolved? Like, where has it come?
Yeah, our first OP Cloud customer went live in April of 2012.
Wow.
Back then, we hosted our cloud with a small service provider in Pennsylvania. But then after a couple of years, we decided we needed more from our cloud provider, and we moved to Amazon Web Services, or AWS. And AWS provided us a lot of things. They gave us the ability to host OP in more than one location. So we have locations on the East Coast and the West Coast. AWS provided us with security and power, the same kind of security and power that's available to their other customers, like Airbnb, Harvard Medical School, U.S. Department of State. And then they also provide us with features like, one of the things that AWS provides us is elasticity. So some of the services that we provide will use more compute power and more memory when it's needed. So it's a way for our cloud to grow as the needs of the cloud grow and shrink.
Gotcha. So in essence, to put it into lay terms, it's almost like a throttle.
Yes, that's right.
Awesome. Throttle based on the client needs. That's awesome. So 2012 to 2020, that's a long time to have used.
And actually, let's go back to that though.
Sure.
And only because when I think of throttle, I think of kind of like turning down. Does the throttle make things go faster as well too?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can see that.
I think of throttling as kind of going back, but yeah, it's mostly it expands, what we need.
Absolutely.
As the needs get larger.
No, that's cool. And to that point, needs getting larger. I'm sure in these 8 years that we've employed the cloud, that those needs and the capabilities and the functionality have evolved and increased. From your perspective, what's been one of the coolest advances that we've seen come out of cloud computing?
Good question.
That's what they pay me the big bucks to ask.
Let's see. Yeah, so one of the things is it's let us grow to meet the needs of customers. So right now, our application is more, it's more monolithic, if you will. It's one big application that does a lot of things. And what the cloud has allowed us to do is break up our software into smaller pieces so that each piece can be kind of given that power that it needs. And you'll see that with things like OP Mobile, where it's a much smaller application, but it provides a lot of power for when the doctor is, say remote or maybe in their car and they need to access a patient record, or something like Curbside, where we were able to kind of create this small little service that isn't part of the main application, but it's services that are separate, but allow us to do things like allow patients to check in remotely and keep safe, while they're waiting for their appointment.
Yeah, and obviously that's an important consideration, now today, that ability to stay distant and yet stay under care. So it sounds like there's plenty of benefit to users, to clients, and so on. If you had to pick and choose, and this is just the cloud overall, you can pick either it's the cloud overall or OP Cloud specifically. If you had to name to somebody the top 3 reasons why you'd use it, what would they be?
Yeah, good question. So I would say that peace of mind is one advantage, and there's kind of sub-advantages under there, right? Your data is secure. We maintain daily, weekly, monthly backups that you don't have to worry about. And if there's a hardware failure, we can get you back up running quickly. It's not that you have to go and find somebody that has another computer just like yours that can run your database again. We have those servers and standing by where we can get you up, within, say, 25 minutes as opposed to maybe a couple of days. So that peace of mind is really critical.
Sure.
Another is, as a practice grows, the OP Cloud can grow along with the practice. So if you need a bigger database server, or if you need to support additional users or additional locations, we have that covered. There's no additional fees to pay if we upgrade your server or add memory or add additional disk space. So that it's the ability for us to grow with you as your practice grows. And also, users can connect to the OP Cloud from anywhere they have an internet connection. So that could be, from the office, at home, or on the road. So as long as they're in a U.S.-based location, they can access their instance of Office Practicum from just about anywhere.
Incredible. So we've got portability, we've got security, and we've got expandability. If we were to name 3 one-word benefits, and that sounds impressive. And I'm a tech guy, but concepts like the cloud still baffle me, just how it continues to do what it does, and yet it seems to succeed. What if I'm a client who still has their instance on premise, and I want to convert over to the cloud? How would I go about doing that?
Yeah, it's not very difficult at all. You really, the first step would just be sending an email to solutions@officepracticum.com, and then we would set up a demonstration for you so that you could see what OP looks like on the cloud, review the process to convert your practice to the cloud, and then you'd work with an account manager. You'd schedule the date and time when you wanted to move your data to the cloud so that the next day when you woke up, you'd be ready to run. And all you need to do is install a small little application on each computer that's going to run OP, and you're ready to go.
That's incredible. I mean, that sounds painfully simple. I think that's the best possible way to hear that the move would go about. Let me talk about maybe another segment of folks, and I know there are folks out there who, despite security advancements and all this, still have misgivings about the cloud conceptually, and so then maybe the OP cloud. Maybe they're nervous about it being in this abstract place. What would you say to somebody? How would you explain it to them to give them that peace of mind you talked about, Mike, that the cloud is 100% a safe option?
Yeah. Well, when you run OP locally on your local computer, all it takes is one user to mistakenly click on a phishing attack or load a piece of malware, and that can put your practice and your data at risk because everything is kind of connected there together. When you run on the cloud, we provide you with increased security because what a user does is they're running OP on a server out in the cloud, and like you said before, they're just kind of seeing OP running on their machine. And if they were to mistakenly click on some malware or phishing attack, it wouldn't reach its way up to the cloud because it's secured. So it's actually more secure than running locally. And it's that peace of mind, and it's that security that any type of malware or phishing attack isn't going to affect your data or your office security.
Got it. And I was actually honestly going to ask that as a question. Is the cloud safer than local? And I thought they'd be equal, but it sounds to me like you said, running on the cloud is actually safer from a potential for corruption than running local. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you do want to keep in mind that it can be made just as secure in your office, but keep in mind that our team has been building, monitoring, creating a more performant OP environment for about 20 years now. So we really know how to do that. And yes, you could create a super secure environment in your practice, but that's going to be a very expensive in and of itself. And we're able to take those economies of scale and build this large environment that keeps all of our practices secure. Awesome.
And I couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't have used half the words you just did, but I definitely couldn't have said it better myself. Mike, from the OP Cloud perspective then, is there anything else you'd want to share with our clients who use the cloud or clients thinking about using the cloud?
Yeah, it's kind of like what I was just saying is really key. Is just like running, you're running OP because you want to take advantage of all the new things and the features that we add to it, right? We have these awesome developers that have built in curbside, that have built in the telemedicine, that have connected to this awesome portal. So you're trusting us to give you this awesome application so that your pediatric practice can thrive. So just like that, you're able to take advantage also of the years of experience that we have in creating a high-performant and scalable environment in which to run OP. And we provide you a team that's constantly monitoring the OP cloud to make sure that you have one less thing to worry about, to make sure that it's secure, to make sure that it's performant, and really to make sure that it grows with your practice as your practice grows and thrives.
Absolutely. And to have one less thing to worry about, especially in the current landscape, Mike, that's worth it in and of itself, I think. So, well,
we could all use less things to worry about right now.
Absolutely. Mike, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Hey, Sean, thanks so much for having me. Good time with you.
Absolutely. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Office Practicum Pediatrics Podcast, or OP3. Be sure to watch for updates and other announcements via both our OP community listserv, as well as our social media outlets. And if you, yes, you in the far back left, have an idea for a guest or would like to be a guest yourself, reach out to the show. We'd love to hear from you. Be well, stay safe, and remember, we can always learn new tricks.